I'm building more commander decks in 2026 than I probably should. Some of these are going to be so fun, and some of these are going to be such a problem. Let's talk about it. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Sean, and today we're going to be talking about the decks I am planning on building in 2026. But before we get into it, what I want you to do is I want you to leave a like on the video, hit that subscribe button, as well as turn on post notifications so you don't miss out on our uploads whenever we do our gameplay, do more deck techs, interviews, tutorials, stuff like that. So I appreciate y'all so much. Now, 2026 is going to be a fun time for Commander. And the reason why I say that is so many sets are coming out there, look so fun, that are going to really build onto current Commander decks. You know, we're already seeing that with Lorwyn. So these are the decks that I'm planning on building in 2026. Now, my list will change with sets coming out, secret layers coming out, all that fun stuff. But these are the ones so far that I'm planning on building, and we're a month in. So yeah, things are going to change. As the year progresses, it's just going to get crazier. All right. So I say we get into it. Oh my gosh, flashbang. I switched over to Moxfield. Oh, white screen. So let's jump in. Right off the rip, guys, we got Aang at the Crossroads. Now, I fell in love with Bant whenever I built my Choco deck, and so that's what Aang is. He's 2 in Bant. Flying, when Aang enters, look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may put a creature card with mana value 4 or less from among them onto the battlefield. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. When another creature you control leaves the battlefield, transform Aang at the beginning of your next upkeep. All right, and so then it goes into Aang, Destined Savior. It has flying. Land creatures you control have vigilance at the beginning of a combat on your turn. Earthbend 2. So there's so many things that you can do with Aang that is crazy. So you have the blink effects of white. You can ramp with green as well as card draw with blue. You're going to be earthbending. You can have Katara. You can focus on the allies. You can build the avatar team. There's so many cool things, as well as cheating out powerful cards that are 4 or less, because when you do, you put those creatures onto the battlefield. So you can have double triggers like Traveling Chocobo and like things like that, essentially. So I was trying to think of another. I couldn't. Just Traveling Chocobo. So you can do the landfall, especially with Earthbend. Ouroboros, you can cheat out Ouroboros and stuff like that. So I'm super excited for Aang at the Crossroads. There's many different ways that I can build it. I haven't built this in Moxfield yet, but for 2026, by the end of 2026, I'm going to build this deck. Next up, we got Alloy, Savior of Mirrodin. Now, this is a deck that's pretty much almost done. It's built on Moxfield. I lack 11 cards for it. And I've played it before, and so far it has a 100% win rate minus the 11 cards. So Alloy, Savior of Mirrodin is pretty much Simic artifacts. I call it semi-arties. But Alloy has Vigilance and Reach. Whenever 1 or more artifact creatures you control attack, discover X, where X is the greatest power among them. So, the way this deck came about was me and Zane were at the LGS. We sat at a table with a guy who had this deck and decided to play it against us. And it looked interesting. And then when I was talking with Zane a few weeks ago, he's like, dude, I kind of want to build that Simic artifact deck. And I was like, okay. And he's like, but I want to go into the discover aspect. And I was like, all right, I'm thinking about doing that as well. But do you know what? I'm going to go a different route. I just want to build artifacts. And so we both deciding to build this deck. And Alloy, Savior Mirrodin, for me, is that I'm building so many artifacts, so many constructs, that I just start cheating more artifacts out. especially knowing what's coming next. Like I have a Sensei's Divining Top um, in there, so I know what's gonna happen and what's gonna come next. So on the trigger, I'll just Sensei, boom, play the card. Um, I have different artifacts I can cheat out, like Blight Steel, and different stuff like that. So, no, so far Alloy is super fun. Make a bunch of constructs. It's gonna be, it's once I finish it, it's gonna be pretty good as well because I'm missing like some tutors and stuff like that, like Fabricate. After that, Aragorn the Uniter. I was sitting with Hudson. I know a lot of these cards have stories. Leave me alone. But I was sitting with Hudson. And I was talking to him about, hey, what decks do I want to build? And I found this card, and I was like, dude, this actually seems pretty fun. And it's Aragorn the Uniter. Now we have a grocery store here. There's three different ones. It's called United Supermarkets. There's Amigos, which is also United, and Market Street. And essentially, you can get mostly anything you want at these supermarkets. And so I call this the United because after the supermarkets, because I'm getting mostly everything I want minus black. So let's take a look at Aragorn. It's whenever you cast a white spell, create a 1/1 white human soldier creature token. Whenever you cast a blue spell, scry 2. Whenever you cast a red spell, Aragorn the Uniter deals 3 damage to target opponent. Whenever you cast a green spell, target creature gets +4/+4 until end of turn. I want to cast spells that trigger multiple, if not all of these. And there's different ways that I can do. With green and white, there's token doublers. With Scry on the blues, I can put Washington Planetarium that lets me cheat out more cards, more spells. When I do red, I want to do double, triple the damage. Whenever I cast a green spell with the token doublers, especially in green, like I want a Primal Vigor, Parallel Lives, Hardened Scales to essentially double the counter. So there's multiple ways that I can do this. I just want to have fun with it. To me, it's like Kenrith, but without paying extra costs. I just pay the spells and I get these stuff. So yeah, I'm super excited about this deck as well. And this one I've started building. I have Aragorn as well as another Aragorn. So once I think on Moxfield it's done. I just have to start buying the pieces for it or looking through my bulk for it. All right, now this card and this deck, I'm just going to give you the basis. It's Rakdos Food. All right, and the only reason I saw Jimmy playing this on game nights, and with Post Malone, and I thought it looked super fun, super interesting, as well as just the name of the commander, and that's Azmoran, Mordecai, Destin, and Kodakar. And it's essentially the deck name is Yes Chef. Because you go search for the Underworld Cookbook. There's cards in there that you can sacrifice creatures to create food, sacrifice the food, do other stuff. So Rakdos is pretty nasty, but with food, it's going to be fun. So the way I saw Jimmy playing it was real nice. So yeah, of course I'm going to build that. After that, I got Brea. Now we are starting here at Valor. We're starting to not focus on power, but starting to build more power. Not CDH levels, but decks that are pretty powerful. And so, like, yes, I have Dragon, but this one seems, I love artifacts, so why not build a Brea? One of my LGSs has the Japanese precon of Brea that I've thought about buying. Only downside, cards are in Japanese, so I'd have to have the deck list up just to know what I'm playing. But there's so many different ways I can do with this. I have the Urza precon, the Esper one. I have the Mishra one. One of them, the Mishra one, was broken apart, but I can take the bones and put it back together. I haven't broken apart the Urza, but if I build Brea, I would for this. But yeah, artifacts are crazy, especially with Brea. When Brea Ethereum Shaper enters the battlefield, create 2 1/1 blue Thopter artifact creature tokens with flying. I can tap 2 and sacrifice 2 artifacts and choose one. Brea deals 3 damage to target player or planeswalker. Target creature gets -4/-4, or I gain 5 life. There's so many different things that I can do. You can do the triple pingage. You can have those counters, kill creatures. You can do the life gain aspect. There's so many different ways to do it, especially with all the artifacts like uh, Armin. I'm gonna say the first name wrong. Armanket's archive, where if you gain life, you gain twice that much life. If you draw a card, you draw twice that many cards. So stuff like that. Um, yeah, there's different ways to do it. And then we got Lorwyn has some cool, brought some good tribals. These are two. I have two in here that I am going to build. The first one being Brigid. Now, Brigid is nasty, but Kith can go hard as well. So, Brigid is whenever this creature enters or transforms into Brigid, Clashan's Heart, Clachan, whatever. Create a 1/1 green and white Kithkin creature token. So that's already adding more to the Kithkin population, which they want to do. They want to build a big board state and then just swing wide. But with Brigid, at the beginning of your first main phase, you may pay a green if you do transform Brigid into Brigid Down's Mind, which is a pseudo Gaia's Cradle. Because yes, you can tap it for green or white, where X is a number of other creatures you control, and Kithkin populate like crazy. So it's gonna get nasty. And then you'll be able to play big spells. Come to mind like Craterhoof Behemoth with as many creatures as you have. If you have so many tokens, like you can token double with white, with green, create like Heir Apparent, you have bunnies. Like it doesn't just have to be Kithkin. It's any creature. So it's gonna be sick. And then at the first main phase you can transform back into Brigid Clacken's Heart. So super nasty stuff that I want to do with that. Um Play big spells, win the game. Essentially the the what's it called? The I forget what it's called. That that tells you everything. But yeah, after that, Dr. Eggman. I bought the Sonic Secret Lair, just the characters after it came out. LGS had it for cheap, or one of our LGSs had it for cheap. So I was like, sure, why not? And when I read Dr. Eggman, I was like, ooh, I love Grixis. I'm a huge Nicobolas fan, but I also love the Villainous Choice mechanic. I have the Doctor Who Villainous Choice deck. Ooh, let's have some fun. And so Dr. Eggman is 2 in Grixis, flying. At the beginning of your end step, draw a card. Then each opponent faces a villainous choice. That player discards a card, or you may put a construct, robot, or vehicle card from among your hand onto the battlefield. You can go into Mirror Battlesphere. You can go into Meteor Golem. You can go into Noxious Gear Hulk. You can go into Torrential Gear Hulk, let you pull back an instant and sorcery card. There's so many artifact creatures that you can do. Straight into a Blightsteel Colossus. There's so many things you can do with Eggman that just nasty. And then especially with that Doctor Who deck that's already artifacts, aka Daleks, you can create a problem. So now we got space stations too, or we got spacecraft, and there's so many things you can do. So that one I'm still working on Moxfield, but when it's done, it's gonna be pretty nasty. Now E Honda, this one is more for fun. So E Honda Sumo Champion is mono white, 4 and 2 white, has Sumo Spirit. As long as it's your turn, each creature assigns combat damage equal to its toughness rather than its power. And this is my favorite part. 100 hand slap. Whenever E Honda Sumo Champion attacks, up to 100 target creatures each get +0/+X until end of turn, where X is number of cards in your hand. So essentially, you want to play walls, you want to draw a bunch of cards, have no maximum hand size. Now that's hard to do without blue, but you can have Reliquary Tower. I think there's land tax. So there's multiple ways that you can do to have the cards in your hand to make E Honda big, as well as your other creatures. The name of this deck is Throwing Butts, because I'm going to put walls in there. I have a Walls of Bossing Say I'm going to put in there. There's a Abominable Ancients that just got reprinted. Like you have it in Tarkir, you have it in I think you have it in Lorwyn as well. So there's many different ways. No, there's not in Lorwyn, but there's many different ways that you can do with this deck. Mostly, I'm going to throw butts. We're going to use defend. We're going to not defender. We're going to use the toughness to our power. So it's going to be sick. So the Post Malone episode had the Asmarana Mordecai extended Coda card, but it also had Garth One Eye, which is Wooburg. Choose a card name that hasn't been chosen from among Disenchant, Brain Geyser, Terror, Shivan Dragon, Regrowth, and Black Lotus. Create a copy of the card with the chosen name. You may cast the copy. You still pay its cost. Why not play with old cards? Create tokens and all of the cards and play them. I love this deck. This is for fun. There's cards in there like Staff of Domination. There's creatures that let you untap. I'm blanking on the names. But more importantly, who doesn't want to just have a Black Lotus for fun? Yeah, it's going to be super fun. I know this is probably one of the decks in there that doesn't get built as much, but there's so many things in there that you can do that I'm super excited for. Just to untap and start creating a bunch of stuff. So from the avatar, you gave us Iroh Grand Lotus, which is 3 in Timor, has Firebending 2. During your turn, each non-lesson instant and sorcery cards in your graveyard has flashback. The flashback cost is equal to its card's mana cost. During your turn, each lesson card in your graveyard has flashback 1. You have so many great lessons from Avatar, from Strixhaven, and now this year we're getting another Strixhaven, which will have more lessons as well as reprints of old lessons. Like, I am so excited. This deck is like halfway built because of Strixhaven. When I heard the announcement, I'm like, okay, I can't finish until Strixhaven comes out, which is in a couple months. So, I love Strixhaven. I love the lesson aspect. I love spell slinging. So Iroh is going to be nasty. This one is probably going to be one of my power decks. Probably put it at a 3 with game changers. There's different things that I can do with it. So I'm pretty excited about Iroh. Just the thought of what I can do and the lessons I already have is going to be crazy. Now loot the key to everything. I essentially saw Dr. Lupo play this on Commander at home, and I was like, "Ooh, that's kind of interesting, especially the landfall. I love landfall." And so loot the key to everything is Timor. Ward 1, at the beginning of your upkeep, exile the top X cards of your library, where X is the number of card types among other non-land permanents you control. You may play those cards this turn. So you can have, I know he had like Minsk and Boo in there. He had a battle. He had, creatures, artifacts, enchantments. So you can get up to five. Planeswalker, battle, artifact, creature, enchantment. Yeah, 5. And so if you're doing 5, and you exile them, and then you can play them. Like, that seems fun to me. This one is on the chopping block, just because, like, if there's other stuff is going to come out. Like, there's cards from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, from Strixhaven. You got Fractured Reality, The Hobbit. I'm not building anything from Star Trek, but you got like Marvel. So there's gonna be cool stuff all around. So this one is like, hey, I quite don't like, or hey, I want to build this. I won't build this one. But as of right now, loot the key to everything is on my list to build. It is, from what I saw Dr. Lupo play it. It looks fun, especially Timor Landfall is always fun. So, but it's on the chopping block. So the next one is from Lorwyn, and that's Sig Wonderwine Wisdom. He's Azorius, blue and white. So Sig can't be blocked. Whenever this creature enters or transforms into Sig Wonderwine Wisdom, target creature gains whenever this creature does combat damage to a player, planeswalker, draw a card. Card draw is huge in Commander. You need it. You have a 99 card deck, 100, not including the Commander, or including the Commander, but 99 cards that you got to get through. That there's cards in there like, hey, I want this. Well, you got to find a way to get to it. So drawing cards is nice. And just like Bridget, you pay a white, transform into Sig Wonderbrine Shield, which is, hey, Sig can't be blocked. Whenever this creature transforms into Sig, target creature you control gains protection from each color until your next turn. So it's a fun way to like, hey, can't be blocked. So have fun with that. Do damage, draw cards, get some different damage triggers from it. With blue and white. Merfolk is so far has been green and blue, and then with Lorwyn Eclipse introduced us to white Merfolk. So I wish there was a Bant Merfolk because that's what I would build, but there's not. So I'm going to take Merfolk from blue Merfolk, white Merfolk, have some fun with it. Especially since the tapping aspect of, hey, if you tap this Merfolk, you get something cool, and then you can also tap someone else's permanent. So there's different things with Merfolk that you can do that I'm going to utilize. All right. The Regalia. I pulled this in Final Fantasy. I like the idea of it if it's landfall. Now the thing is, do I do Wooburg landfall with it or make it colorless? There's not much colorless stuff with landfall. So this one is on the chopping block with loot. Like I said, I got to give some cushion for new stuff that are coming out, but yeah, the Regalia would be nice for landfall. It is crew 1 to attack, so got to crew it. I can create pilots from the vehicle precon from Kamigawa. Yep. Neon Dynasty, or I can just create a bunch of tokens that does it. So I'm still trying to decide on that one. It looked interesting, especially to trigger landfall. I haven't built it in Moxfield yet. So I don't know. Still on the chopping block. Like loot and the Regalia are on the bottom of like, there's a line that says if something cool comes out, hey, get rid of these. So Watcher in the Water. Mono blue. I love mono blue. I love to play blue. Blue is my guy. And especially with this guy. So the Watcher in the Water enters the battlefield tapped with 9 stun counters on it. Crazy. But whenever you draw a card during an opponent's turn, create a 1/1 blue tentacle creature token. Whenever a tentacle you control dies, untap up to 1 target Kraken and put a stun counter on up to 1 target non-land permanent. I am hoping to, first off, draw a bunch of cards. I get to play Rhystic Study, which is super fun. Gosh, I hope it doesn't get banned Monday. But Rhystic Study, which is super fun. You got Blue Sun Zenith, which lets me draw cards. It's an instant. You got War Room, so I'm going to create a bunch of tentacles. Give me blockers. So that way when they die, I can start tapping stuff and start untapping stuff. So, or Kraken. But if I put a Maskwood Nexus, oh, that's green. Dang it. Never mind. You know what I mean. Watcher in the Water so far is going to be fun. So I'm just going to draw a bunch of cards. Hopefully I can deck myself, but who knows? That's one of my win conditions for myself is like, if I can draw my entire deck, I win the game for myself. So different ways. Tom Bombadil. All right. This one is for funsies. And I'll explain. So Tom Bombadil's Wooburg. As long as there are 4 or more lore counters among sagas you control, Tom Bombadil has hexproof and indestructible. Whenever the final chapter ability of a saga you control resolves, reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a saga card. Put that card onto the battlefield and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. This ability triggers only once each turn. This entire deck is sagas. Well, mostly this deck is sagas, minus the lands, even though I have a Urza saga. My sorceries, which is all ramp, Nature's Lore, Skyshard Claim, all that fun stuff. And my artifacts, which is Arcane Signet, Soul Ring, and Chromatic Lantern. Other than that, all the enchantments and all the creatures are saga. Thank you to Final Fantasy for summon saga creatures. So that's all it is. And the idea behind this is, hey, we're going to do gameplay videos. I want y'all to build a deck or find a deck or whatever that is tribal, but on abilities. So like this is all about sagas. So build around that theme of sagas, and just see what the guys can come up with. So it's gonna be fun. I'm super excited for it. I have all the most of the creatures done, but just going into Bahamut would be hilarious. Just like it could be powerful with that, or it can be not so powerful when you go into the Bat Song. You know what I mean? Like there's different sagas, and it's gonna be fun. I'm super excited. It's pretty much a meme deck for me, so I'm excited. And see, we go from fun into being the problem because the last deck of 2026 that I'm planning on building is VV Orniteer. I know, I know, I know. I am going to be that guy. So VV is 1, and is it so 0? Add X mana in any combination of blue and or red where X is VV Orniteer's power. Activate only during your turn and only once each turn. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, put a +1/+1 counter on VV, and it deals 1 damage to each opponent. Now, here's the reason why I'm building this. Is because Hudson wanted power for his birthday. He wanted bracket 4s. And yes, I built Thrasios and Vile Smasher, which is nasty. When I debuted it, nasty. But also, Danny debuted his bracket 4, which he is doing mono black. And Crick is his commander. He had Crick out turn 2. And just started paying life and gaining life and doing all these spells. And that made me wonder, like, Thrasios is not that fast. There's ways to make it fast, but I'm not going to spend hundreds and thousands of dollars to make it that fast. So I was like, what other card is fast? And that when I got 2 packs and I pulled 2 VVs out of them, one is going into my Final Fantasy Master set, and this one is going to be a commander deck, and it's probably going to be bracket 4. Like I've already put baubles in there, I've put ornithopters, I have 0 cost cards. I have very cheap stuff because my main goal is to ping the board, and build VV to where I just start playing a bunch of spells. Is it Spellslinger? You know, that's the name of the game. That's why it was so huge in standard, and stuff like that. So that is the reason why I'm that guy. This is going to be a problem for sure. For sure, it's going to play fast. It's going to play fast, super fast. Yeah. I'm excited for it. But yeah, guys, those are my decks for 2026. 16 different decks I'm working on. 2 of on the top of chopping block, but 4 that are planned, working on in Moxfield, done in Moxfield, and are finding cards now, which the ones I'm finding cards for and building is Alloy, which is almost done. Aragorn, which it barely started. Iroh, and the Watcher in the Water, and Vivi. Oh, and Tom Bombadil. So, like, those decks I have cards. I'm starting to put the decks together. Just gotta do the mana base, or, you know, once I find what I'm looking for, build the mana base, all that fun stuff. So, I'm excited for 2026. Like I said, this list can change. You know, I can probably give it an update like, hey, I kept the same, or, oh, I only kept the ones that are done. All the other ideas went out the water because guess what? More stuff came out. You know, there's new sets. There's going to be new secret layers, stuff like that. So you just got to wait and see what happens. But yeah, guys, if you're liking the video, leave a like on it. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out, and turn on post notifications. I truly appreciate it. You know, we got some cool stuff planned for 2026. You know, more interviews, more deck techs, tutorials. I know a lot of new people are coming to Magic. I want to help those people out. Again, Magic's the fun part, but it also depends on the gathering. So I want you to have fun with the gathering aspect, and then gameplay. We're very, very close to recording gameplay. Schedules are about to get lined up to where we're able to do that, and so I'm super excited. So yeah, guys, that's going to be it for the video. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.